Hello and welcome along, my name is Azzavhar or Azza, and in this video we're going to take a look at the Mortal Journey Gauntlet on Sekiro. That's 17 bosses in a row. I'll be showing gameplay of the full fight for all 17 bosses, and I'll be giving some commentary here and there with some hints and tips on how to defeat all of these bosses. There's a bunch of things that I would recommend getting before you go in for these 17 fights, such as stocking up on some candy and some spirit emblems. I would recommend upgrading as many prosthetics and as many skills as you possibly can do. On some of these fights I'll also be using the combat art called Sakura Dance, which you will actually automatically have by now because you get that by completing the Gauntlet of the Divine Air, which is one of the 3 gauntlets that you'll need to complete to unlock this Mortal Journey Gauntlet. I'll also add chapters to the video so you can look in the video description to look for a specific boss if you need to. Also, yes, my character is Rikimaru from Tenchu. This is a mod on the PC version of Sekiro that I got from Nexus Mods. I'll leave a link to the Rikimaru mod in the video description if you're interested in checking it out yourself. I'd also recommend finding all the prayer beads before you go into this, so your vitality should be at 20 before you go in for these 17 bosses. Make sure to rest between each and every fight, as this will restore all your items and your spirit emblems and get you ready for the next battle. Anyway, let's get into the action here, and the first fight coming up is Gyoubu. As we start the Gyoubu fight, I'll use an Akko attack boost and then go straight in for the attack.
My name is Gyoubu Masataka!
A lot of this fight is just attacking when you can. You can also just hold down block for a lot of Gyoubu's attacks. Because his attacks are so spaced out, just holding down block generally will restore your posture between his attacks. Ideally, deflect his attacks if you can do. You can use the grappling hook to close the distance between yourself and Gyoubu. There's not too much to this fight apart from just block when you need to block and then attack when you see an opening. You can also use the firecrackers every so often to get an extra attack in. Just watch out for Gyoubu's counter attack after the firecrackers. Next fight is Lady Butterfly. At the start of the fight, I'll try to get an Akko sugar in if I can do. Shurikens are the prosthetic of choice for this fight. Each and every time she goes up into the air, you can just throw a shuriken to bring her back down again. You can also get a counter attack in when she falls to the floor after the shuriken. On phase 1, try to time your blocks to get your parries because her posture bar will build up quite fast. After you get the first death blow, you can head on over to the statue. I buff myself with Akko and also Divine Confetti. If you're quick enough, you can actually get a free attack in as she jumps down to the floor. She'll also summon ghosts. All you have to do to counter that is just run into the middle of the ghosts and use the snap seed. There is a little trick here with Lady Butterfly which works most of the time. If you get an attack in, you can just dodge to the right and then attack again. So attack, dodge right, attack, dodge right, attack, dodge right, and just keep doing that. If you're lucky, it can sometimes keep Lady Butterfly caught in a cycle and you can just keep doing that until she's dead. Next fight coming up is Genichiro. Genichiro has 3 death blows, and I'll prepare the combat art Sakura dance for this fight. I usually try and get an Akko sugar in at the start of each battle if I can do. A lot of the time with Genichiro it actually pays off to be more offensive than defensive. You can usually catch him between his attacks. If you time it correctly, you can use an item at the end of his sword flurry. I usually wait and try to time it so that I use an item on his last sword swing. Just make sure that you're out of reach of his last sword swing, otherwise it's going to hit you and interrupt your item use. If I can do, I'll try and get an Akko sugar in on the last sword swing of this flurry and try to push him into his next phase whilst the Akko sugar is still active. This is important because we're going to lay down some damage at the start of the next phase. Now that we're fighting Genichiro way of Tomoe, you will always start with a perilous attack, so make sure to Mikiri counter the perilous, and then we go straight into the firecrackers and a Sakura dance. Keep repeating Sakura dance and firecrackers, Sakura dance and firecrackers. That will take a massive chunk of his HP off already. If he then goes to do his lightning perilous attack, make sure to use your Sakura dance because it will automatically counter the lightning at Genichiro. Using these tactics makes this phase really quick and easy.
Ashina.
Next fight is Guardian Ape. We can get the first death blow for Guardian Ape really quickly. We'll use a few things here to achieve this. You want to walk up and stop just before this tree. Use a Yashariku sugar and also divine confetti. Run up to the ape, use firecrackers, then use mortal draw. Keep using mortal draw over and over again, and it usually pushes his posture to max, and you should get the death blow straight away. After the first death blow, you'll want to back away. I also use an Akko sugar to raise my maximum HP bar again. If he jumps forward with his lunge slide across the floor attack, you can actually just jump over that and get some attacks in. If he does that weird stand on the spot thing and then jiggle about a little bit, he's about to do his scream, so you just want to run directly backwards. Next fight coming up is Corrupted Monk. For the Corrupted Monk, I'll take most things off of my quick items bar apart from ash and snap seeds. I'll then manually use Yashariku's sugar and also divine confetti. You'll also want to have firecrackers equipped for this fight. So use Yashariko and divine confetti before you run in. Run behind the Corrupted Monk, get in a few attacks and then use some firecrackers. After the firecrackers, attack with your sword 2 or 3 times, then firecrackers again, and repeat this until you run out of spirit emblems. Next, swap to snap seeds and then repeat the process. Use a snap seed and then attack 2 or 3 times. You can do that up to a maximum of 3 times with the snap seeds before they become ineffective against the monk. If you've used 3 snap seeds, you can also then use the ash and repeat the process with the ash as well. If this goes smoothly, the monk will be dead and you'll be on to your next fight. The next fight coming up is Owl. At the start of the fight, I'll try to get an Akko Sugar and Divine Confetti. Make sure to have the Whirlwind Slash combat art equipped for this fight. Essentially what you want to do here is wait for Owl to run towards you and then dodge forward through his sword swipe and then use the Whirlwind Slash from behind him. The entirety of this fight is just using the Whirlwind Slash from behind him. If you imagine the analog stick as a clock face, you'll want to have your analog stick pointed somewhere between 12 and 1 o'clock. When he's running at at you with that sword swipe, have your analog stick pointing in that direction and then press dodge. If it works, you should dodge through the sword swipe and then be ready to whirlwind slash from behind. Just be aware, if you've not dodged enough behind him, then he'll follow up with a combo. If he does this combo, you'll want to deflect or run away. You can also get these whirlwind slashes after the shuriken throws, so he'll do 2 shuriken throws and then do a forward flip. You can dodge behind him during his forward flip to get a whirlwind slash in from behind, or he can also do the shuriken and then sword swipe, but your tactics will remain the same. You just look out for the opportunity, dodge through him and then whirlwind slash from behind. Phase 2 is pretty much identical to phase 1. This fight might take some time, this guy's got a massive amount of HP, but as long as you're patient and careful, it'll pay off and you'll have your victory in no time. Next fight coming up is Headless Ape and his mate. This is one of the trickier ones. I'll be using Sakura Dance as the combat art and Firecrackers as the prosthetic for this fight. I'll also be using an item called the Ceremonial Tanto, which sacrifices our HP for spirit emblems. More on that in a moment. As we start the fight, use the Akko Sugar and the Divine Confetti and then go in for your attack. Phase 1 of this fight is pretty much identical to the Guardian Ape, so there's not too much new stuff to go over here. After the first death blow is where the ape will call his mate. This is where the fight gets extremely tricky. Essentially what we try to do here is separate the two apes so that we can get the attacks in on the brown ape. This is why it's important to try and keep as many spirit emblems as you can for this phase, because we'll be using the firecrackers to stun the brown ape and then get the damage in. So if you can make the headless ape fall down, generally the brown ape will do a jumping attack at you, at which point you can use the firecrackers and then get in your damage. The main times that these apes will be separated is if the headless ape is doing the scream attack, at which point the brown ape will jump at you, so make sure to run and dodge the jump and then follow up with the firecrackers and then the Sakura dance. Or you can also deflect the headless ape's attack combo to make the headless ape fall to the floor, at which point they'll be separated again, so use the firecrackers on the brown ape and then get in your damage. You want to be mainly looking out for deflect opportunities from the headless ape and also the headless ape screaming, as that's the opportunities that you'll get the most uptime on the brown ape. After the headless ape's mate is taken care of, it's just back to the standard fight again, so just follow standard fight mechanics and you'll have your victory in no time. The next fight coming up is Emma the Gentle Blade. There's not too much to say with Emma. A lot of the time you'll win this fight by filling her posture bar. Make sure to time your deflects accordingly. If she puts her sword away and you see a glint of light, she's about to do Ashina Cross, so you can actually just run away, and if you measure the distance right, you can actually follow it up with a whirlwind slash if you time it right. A lot of this fight is just correct parry timing. You'll notice that her posture bar fills up really quick and this fight should be over in no time. Next fight coming up is Isshin Ashina. The main mechanic that we use here with Isshin is to run towards him, hold down R1, wait for him to do his attack, dodge through it, and then whirlwind slash from behind. If you imagine your analog stick as a clock face, you'll want to be holding your analog stick at 11 to dodge through his attacks. As you run towards him and hold down attack, he'll usually do one of these three things. One is dodge your attack and then he'll follow that up with a sword swipe, just dodge through it and then use whirlwind slash. Another thing you might do is deflect your attack. You can just dodge in the same direction and then use whirlwind slash. Same again, if you see a perilous attack, you can just dodge through it and then use whirlwind slash from behind. At the start of his phase 2, I pretty much just use firecrackers and then whirlwind slash and repeat. If you can get in an Akko sugar to boost your attack before you go in for the firecrackers and whirlwind slash, make sure to do that for an attack boost. The same tactic that we use in phase 1 actually works in phase 2 as well, so you'll notice I try and run up and do the hold attack button. Watch out for his fire attacks in this phase. If you see him charging up, he's about to cast fire all over the floor, so run and look out for a space on the floor where there's no fire and you should be safe. Then get ready to deflect his incoming sword combo. If you see him stamp on the floor, he's about to cast fire in your direction, so get ready to jump or move accordingly to dodge. He also does the Ashina Cross, at which point you can run away, and if you measure the distance, you can also counter that with your whirlwind slash. With enough practice, you'll have this fight sorted in no time.
Genichiro, it was not to be.
Next fight coming up is True Monk. Before we start this fight, make sure to sort out your quick items. We'll be using the Ash again to get some damage uptime on this boss, and we'll be using similar strats to before, where we'll be using firecrackers to get some attacks in. Before we approach the monk, I use some Yashariku sugar and some divine confetti. The camera goes a little bit crazy here because of this tree branch. Wait for the monk to jump down and then swing his weapon. Be careful because his weapon can catch you if you're too close. After he's done this, you want to head behind him, get some attacks in, and then use the firecrackers. Similar to the monk before, you can usually get in 2 or 3 swings of your sword between each firecrackers. Once you've run out of spirit emblems for your firecrackers, make sure to have your Ash at the ready. You might have to use 1 or 2 Ash to get the first death blow in. As soon as the first death blow is done, make sure to look for this tree and use your grappling hook to get up. If you're quick enough, you'll then be able to get the second death blow in from jumping off this tree. I then use the ceremonial tanto, some Akko sugar and divine confetti to get myself ready for phase 3, and then just rinse and repeat the strategy, and this should be enough to take him out. Next fight coming up is Owl brackets father. As always at the start, try to get your Akko and divine confetti in. A lot of the mechanics on this will just be the same as the previous Owl fight, where you dodge through his sword and then get in your whirlwind slash towards his back. You can also Makiri counter his attack here. After his Makiri, I'll usually get in 1 attack and then I'll back off. I try to stay not too close to him, but also not too far away as well. So a middle ground distance tends to bait the attack that we want, so we can dodge through it and then get the whirlwind slash from behind. If you can do, try to reapply your Akko sugar and divine confetti. In phase 2, he'll get his blue owl friend, so watch out for him. You can actually transform into the owl and then appear right next to you, so watch out for that. You can now shoot a fire owl attack towards you. You can actually just jump straight over that and then get ready for his Makiri and then counter it. If you see him disappear, it means that he's transformed into the blue owl and he's about to jump out of the air and attack you, so watch out for that. The best opportunity to attack is the same as it's always been, which is look to dodge through the sword swipe and then whirlwind slash from behind. You can also dodge past his front flip attack and then whirlwind slash from behind there as well. Next fight coming up is Demon of Hatred. With this fight, I'll try and run and be as close to the back of his left leg as possible. This tends to be the safest area. For this fight, we'll be using the Suzaku Shield and the Malcontent Whistle. If you time it correctly, you can actually deflect one of his stomps, leaving you an opportunity to get in and attack. If he does his 3-hit combo, you can actually just dodge to your right 2 or 3 times, and you should dodge every attack in this combo. If you see an incoming fire attack, make sure to use your Suzaku Shield to defend yourself. If he does his perilous attack, you can just jump over it. After you get the first death blow, if you need to, use a ceremonial tanto to restore some spirit emblems. Heal up if you need to do that as well. And if you have time, apply the Akko Sugar and the Divine Confetti before you go in for phase 2. Again, the safest place is just next to his left leg, so try and get there as soon as you can do. With this multiple fireball attack, you can just keep running round and just hold your analog stick to the side and you should dodge every single attack. After we get the second death blow and push him into phase 3, I'll instantly use a Yashariku Sugar and then use the Malcontent Whistle. This will keep him stunned for quite some time. You can usually get in 7 or 8 attacks before you need to use the whistle again. You can actually do this up to a maximum of 3 whistle blows. After that point, the whistle will become ineffective and you'll need to fight normally. If you do take a death, it's a good idea to use a dragon's blood droplet to restore your resurrection powers. A lot of the fight mechanics in phase 3 are quite similar to the previous phases, apart from his Whirlwind Perilous attack. If you do see this, just jump over it. With enough practice, you'll have Demon of Hatred defeated in no time. At this point in the fight, I was battling him against a cliff edge, so I tried to lure him away from that. Next fight coming up is Genichiro with his Mortal Blade. For this fight I use the combat art Mortal Draw. He'll always start the fight with a Mortal Draw, so just go behind him and use your own Mortal Draw. A lot of the fight mechanics for this battle are similar to previous ones, so just use those tactics again. Just be wary of his extra Mortal Draw attack. Next fight coming up is Isshin the Sword Saint. For the first two phases of this fight, we'll be using the combat art Whirlwind Slash. If he puts his sword away and you see the glint, he'll be doing Ashina Cross, so you can run away and then counter that. A lot of phase 1 is just deflecting his attacks. You'll usually win phase 1 via the posture bar. If you walk around to your character's right hand side, he's about to perilous attack, so get ready for that. At the start of phase 2, normally back away, reapply your Akko and Divine Confetti, then go in for the attacks. A lot of this phase is just learning his attack patterns and then countering it accordingly. Make sure to get your deflects in as much as you can do. If you see him jumping towards you, you can actually just dodge behind him and then get your Whirlwind Slash attack in. There is a pretty harsh combo that he does that's about 5 or 6 attacks in a row, and he usually ends that with a perilous attack. You have to make sure to deflect every single attack in that combo, otherwise the perilous attack is going to kill you. Phase 3 is not too bad. You'll want to switch your combat art to Sakura Dance in this phase. If you see him jump in the air and prepare to do his lightning attack, make sure to use Sakura Dance straight away. It will reflect the lightning and do massive damage to Isshin. I would say that phase 2 is the hardest phase of this fight. The next fight coming up is Inner Genichiro. This is where the bosses get extra movesets, so make sure to keep your eyes peeled for those. With Inner Genichiro, he gets a new whirlwind slash that will slash 3 times. There's the same amount of time between the first 2 slashes and then a slight gap and then the third slash. So what you can do with this is just deflect the first 2 and then dodge forward through the third. If you dodge forward through the third slash, you can actually get in an attack or 2. A lot of this fight is quite similar to the previous Genichiro, so a lot of the same tactics still apply. Just make sure to keep your eyes peeled for these new moves. If you see him do his sword flurry combo, I try to keep myself just out of reach of his sword, which usually makes him do the sword combo that we're used to seeing. If you move too far away from the sword flurry, it will make him do some new movesets. So I try to stay relatively close to his sword flurry without getting hit, so he does the flurry that we're used to seeing. Again, you can also time your item use on the last swing of his flurry to ensure that you get a safe item use in. On his next phase, he will always start with a perilous attack. You can then just use Makiri counter and then go into Firecrackers and Sakura Dance and just do that until you've used up all your spirit emblems. If he goes up into the air to use his lightning attack, make sure to use Sakura Dance straight away, and then that will reverse it and do massive damage to Genichiro. The next fight coming up is Inner Father. I'll be honest with you, I find this fight the most difficult out of all 17. It's a really tricky fight, and as you'll see in this video, I only survive it by a millimeter of HP. So with Inner Father, Owl will get some new dirty tricks. He's already got loads of dirty tricks as it is, and now he's got even more dirty tricks. One of the best opportunities to attack is still the same as it's always been, where you can dodge through his sword swing and then whirlwind slash from behind. Again, you can also deflect the shurikens, dodge through his sword attack and then whirlwind slash. If you time the dodge correctly on his Mist Raven attack, you can actually dodge behind him during his Mist Raven and then use the whirlwind slash from behind. If you need to, you can also use the columns to try and put a barrier between yourself and Owl. This is specifically helpful if you're trying to use an item or something like that. Because Owl has got a massive amount of HP, it's usually ideal if you can have an attack boost on as much as you can do. In this fight, I'll even sometimes use a persimmon fruit to help with posture recovery. Generally, I don't use a prosthetic here, which means I've got quite a lot of spirit emblems, so I put the Akko Spirit Fall on so I can still keep that attack boost. If you need to with this fight, I'd even recommend using rice. In phase 2, his Mist Raven becomes even more powerful as he now starts to do a crazy Mist Raven combo. A lot of the time with the Mist Raven combo you can actually just block and deflect, so try to deflect these attacks if you can do. If you're not sure, then just go for the block. He also starts to shoot his Fire Owl in phase 2 as well. The most tricky thing with this Fire Owl is normally we could just jump straight over it, but in this version of the fight the owl sometimes changes where its wings are, so you can't jump over it as it's coming at you from a different angle. So just to be safe, what I try to do is bait this owl into a column, which usually keeps you safe. Just make sure to be on the lookout for his perilous attack after the Fire Owl. Like I mentioned before, this fight is quite tricky and there's a massive amount of mechanics to look out for, so I'd recommend getting in a nice amount of practice fights against Inner Father. If you do take a death, I'd always recommend trying to restore your resurrective power as soon as possible. A lot of his attacks you can block or deflect, so try to do this and then look for openings to get in your attacks. With enough practice, you'll have your victory in no time. Next fight coming up is Inner Isshin. For the first 2 death blows in this fight, we'll be using Whirlwind Slash. At the start of the fight, Inner Isshin will likely use his new moveset, which is 2 massive whirlwind attacks. You can just run away and then jump over the second Whirlwind Slash, or you can run away and then run back in to dodge both of them if you time it correctly. A lot of this fight is quite similar to the previous Isshin Sword Saint, so you can just deflect the attacks, get the Mikiri counter in when you can do. If he does his combat art, you can just dodge past it twice and then get your Whirlwind Slash in from behind. The first death blow should be pretty quick. Second phase, in my opinion, is the hardest. Make sure to time your blocks correctly to get in your deflects. Look out for his perilous attacks and Mikiri counter them when you can do. If you get in all of your deflects and your Mikiri counters, his posture bar should fill pretty fast. For the third death blow, make sure to have your Sakura dance on, and then when he jumps in the air and summons his lightning, make sure to use Sakura dance to reverse that and get in some massive damage. Usually with the third death blow, you can just Sakura dance your way to victory. And that's all 17 bosses in the Mortal Journey Gauntlet. I hope this commentary and some of these hints were helpful and maybe helped you kill some of these bosses. Let me know in the comments section below if any of these did help, or perhaps if you've got some strategies that you'd like to share with everyone, feel free to drop those in the comments. I'm really glad that they put this update in for Sekiro, as this game is one of my favourites of all time. I absolutely love this game and I hope that we see more games similar to this in future. Hopefully you found this guide useful and it helped you out in some way. If it did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments section below if you've got any questions or queries. Since you're here, I'm guessing that you might enjoy video games. Well, as it happens, I also enjoy video games, and so does the Azzavhar army. Feel free to come and hang out during one of our live streams over on Twitch TV. We've also got an Azzavhar army Discord server. Links to those can be found in the video description, so hopefully we'll see you there. We talk about and we love video games a lot, so if that sounds like your kind of thing, we'd love to have you on board. These videos do take a lot of time and effort to create, so what would be really cool is if you do give this video a like. That's what will send the video out into the YouTube universe, ultimately allowing me to continue to content create and to content create more often. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care. Oh my good god.
Beep, 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 beep.